on, lady.
Okay.
All right, lady. We're on. Well, welcome to Meet Tina. How's everyone's doing here? I am doing amazing because I'm gonna get what do you call that? Hellenistic astrology reading with Kim Galbraith here. I'm excited, Kim. So let's welcome Kim. And Kim, you're gonna have to tell me what is Hellenistic astrology because it sounds very unusual. Yeah, very
Yeah.
different. But I'm excited to hear what it's all about. And Kim is going to do a reading on my chart. So I'm excited about that. So let's welcome Kim.
Well, thanks, Tina. It's really good to be
Mhm.
with you. And yeah, Hellenistic astrology is interesting. It's pretty much come into being in the last like 20 years. It took a while for all of the transcripts and everything to get transcribed from like Greek and the medieval times into
Mhm.
something that we could discern and understand. I started out with modern astrology,
Mm.
and I found myself just wanting to kind of dig into the where did this come from? Not
Mm.
so much the why. I don't think we ever really get an answer
Now,
why to
this
anything.
Kim, this is supposed to be what you call ancient astrology, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But why
Yes.
would they call that ancient astrology? I haven't really heard much about Hellenistic astrology before. I mean, I have heard from a few people from the past, but honestly, I have not have any Hellenistic astrology reading done by anyone. So I'm very excited about today that you're gonna give me a reading. Yeah. So anyway,
Yay!
yeah, so let's begin. I want audience to know about you first, Kim. Who are you? Who are you all about? How did you come into doing this astrology? And what makes your intrigued by this kind of astrology? Because I know you do the Western, the modern one, correct?
Yeah.
So let's begin to introduce yourself a little bit first, and the audience probably want to know a little bit about you and who you are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been teaching yoga. That
Mm.
was kind of what started my wellness journey in my adulthood. So I've been a student of yoga for over 20 years, but I started teaching 12 years ago. And that led me down like more of a path. Yeah, more of a
Right, you
path,
do.
more of a spiritual path, right? And we all get there at some point, hopefully in this lifetime. But and astrology was an interest of mine as well, but I kind of devoted my studies to yoga for quite a while, and then astrology came along, and I really kind of needed a way to understand myself better and understand the people around me, mainly my family. I was taking care of my mom at the end of her life, and she was an interesting person.
Mm.
And so I wanted to know about how I could figure out who she is without asking her, because I thought she was confused about who she was. So to me, astrology just provides you with a little bit of a blueprint to go off of. So we're not
Mm.
just out there flailing around trying to figure out ourselves for the rest of our lives. But
Mm.
so I studied mainly modern astrology at first. I had some readings with some well-known astrologers, and I finally found an astrologer in LA that I really identified with,
Mm.
and that's what kind of kick-started the intense study. Then I moved into the ancient or Hellenistic, which I believe is Greek, as a Greek word. I could be wrong about that, but primarily, we're studying where the Greek astrology came along in the process, and it's a little different. It's definitely the root of modern astrology, but you have to think about, like, back in the day,
Mm.
they had very limited tools to calculate things.
Mhm.
They didn't understand that there were planets beyond Saturn, because you can't see Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto with the
Right.
naked eye, or you need a really high powered telescope. So that was one of the main differences, was the planetary stuff. I was like, wow, this is really different, just having Saturn on back to kind of focus on. And
I think we still use Saturn on the modern astrology, isn't it?
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Modern includes the outer, what they call the outer
Outer
planets, which
planets,
is,
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto.
Mm.
And I guess you could argue whether Pluto is a planet, but I think Pluto's a planet,
I
so it
agree.
is
I
for
think it's a planet.
astrology's sake.
It is for all astrologers. We all agree to that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's very powerful one. So what makes Hellenistic? I mean, do you feel Hellenistic astrology is better than the modern astrology that we have right now? And
I
what
don't
makes it
think,
different? Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't think there's one that's better than the other. I'm sure there would be lots of people out there that would love to argue that position with me, but I think of it as like you're holding up this jewel. You're the jewel. You are the astrology blueprint, and you're turning it around and looking at it from different angles, and it looks different. And to me, ancient astrology is just another way that you can look at your chart and maybe discern some like details that weren't evident with modern astrology.
Okay. Okay.
They focused, I believe, more on the planets, the dignities that what their ruling signs are, and the position of the planet in the sign relative to. They kind of divided up the zodiac in a way that many modern astrologers don't delve into. So it's
Okay.
not that it's as detailed. I feel like modern astrology has kind of evolved into more of a psychological aspect.
Okay.
And one of the things that intrigued me about ancient astrology was the medical astrology aspect of it.
Wow. Okay.
So basically every zodiac is, assigned to a certain part of the body.
I think
And
that's fantastic. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very interesting.
Because I don't see that
And
many people do the kind of medical astrology. Not many. Yeah. And you're right about that. It's about personality psychology. So I
it's
can't
really
wait to hear.
interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like physical versus, I mean, that's one way you could look at it. I don't know if everyone would look at it that way, but physical versus the psychological aspect and bringing those together to just kind of create a more whole picture of who you
Yeah.
are and how you could benefit from having this type of reading. So
I like that. You kind of integrate both a study into one as a whole. So it's sort of like a yin and a yang, or just they complement each other, right?
yeah, yeah, connecting the dots. I love astrology because one, it's like a puzzle, and then two, it's like, yeah, connect the
I love
dots.
astrology too. I mean, I have been a student of astrology for a long, long time too. And I just love, I like to tap into a different type of astrology as well. So I'm very excited when you told me about Hellenistic. I'm like, I've heard about that many times. I just never run into anyone who knows how to read that. Honestly, Kim is the first person I came across. And she said, I do this reading, I combine both type of astrology. I go, oh my God, you got to come on my show. You got to come on my channel. And do a reading on me. I'm pretty much open for her to do a reading, and the audience can. Actually, she's never done any reading on me before, so we're gonna find out.
Ah, we're gonna find
You
out.
put us
Yeah.
on the spot here. All
But
right.
seriously, like using as many tools as you can,
Hmm.
I think is important when it comes to this. And then one last thing I just wanted to add to, and we talked about this before. It's like once I do a reading or work with a client, then I can like introduce some plant spirit medicine or herbs, teas, and crystals that might
Okay.
help like
So you sort of
support you.
integrate this holistic healing in according to the client's chart, what they need
Yeah.
in their body. I think that's kind of cool because I think that's what they used to do in the ancient time. They look at
Yes.
your chart and they will give you the prescription, prescribe you any kind of herbs and things, natural remedies in according to your body, your elements. But nowadays those has been actually deleted and taken away. So it's kind of cool that you bring this back. I
Well, I
start to
think it
hear.
was like until 1600 something,
Mhm.
physicians had to know astrology. It was what they used to start their diagnosis.
Not just astrology though, Kim. They also have to know massage.
Yeah,
A real
absolutely.
massage. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
some Indian doctors still are required, and a good holistic doctor are required to do uh um um not the normal, relaxing massage that most people do.
Hmm.
Is more like a medical massage that they're required to do. So now they just kind of delete all those. And you're right about astrology. I totally believe that, we can be healed much better if we use astrology and we use all different type of holistic healing, into the modern time, because a lot of people are not healthy nowadays, and I don't know we can talk much about that on channel, but
We
you
could
guys
go,
know.
we could go on forever, right?
I know we can go so deep, but I think this channel is gonna be like, woo, goodbye, So, all right, let's continue on with the Hellenistic or the ancient astrology here. All right.
Right. I'm just going to share a chart.
Okay, let's get started. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right,
I
guys.
would add to what you said too about the medical thing. It's like, it's important to use every tool at your option. If that's modern medicine, then use it. I mean, it saves lives, right?
Exactly.
But
I
sometimes,
believe in both. I
yeah,
believe
me
that
too.
if you can combine different tools, um, for highest good for your, patient, that would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the way you said that, for the highest good. That's
Thank you.
so important. Okay, so what we're looking at here is two charts that are the same but different. The chart on the left is run in what's called the whole sign house configuration, and that is what the ancient astrologers used. The reason they used the whole house sign version, which assigns based on your ascendant, is where your houses start, right? And this is a rising sign of Cancer at 22 degrees. So it's well within the 30-degree range of that sign. But back in the day, they didn't have the tools that we have now to run precise houses, because the houses end up being sort of different shapes. If you can see, actually, this one's pretty even, but for the most part, it also depends on the longitude and latitude that you were born in. There's lots of different things because we have the curvature of the Earth to account for as well. So that's the major difference that I see between the two practices. Placidius configures the first house cusp on the actual degree of the rising sign. So you can see it's in 22 degrees Cancer, but then Leo comes in and intercepts the first house.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, it's way more complicated to read a chart, actually. In Placidius, for someone who's not familiar with astrology, it can be overwhelming. That's what kind of led me to start to teach basic astrology, because I had my first reading and I paid a lot of money for it, and I didn't understand it at all, because I didn't understand the glyphs. I didn't understand the houses. I didn't have a basic working knowledge of astrology. So, my advice is find yourself somebody that's willing to teach you basic astrology before you go get a reading.
So you teach now, right, Kim? You teach basic?
Yeah, I teach mostly in person now. I'm just getting back to online classes after, the COVID thing and just the constant online. I got burned out and I needed to be like in front of people for a while. So
you're right about that human connection there.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. It's that Cancer thing. I'm a Cancer sun, a Cancer rising, and a Libra moon.
Oh, wow.
So I have a lot in common with this person, because they are also a Cancer rising and a Libra sun, and I'm a Libra moon. So
isn't that funny? Yes.
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 And that's the other thing I love, is just finding connection between all of us, because we are one, and we're all connected somehow.
That's amazing.
So the first thing, I couldn't read the entire chart. It would take a long time for me to dive into it. So what I would do initially with somebody that really wants to kind of explore the ancient, or medical is really what I kind of focus on the ancient practice, is I'll look just at the big three, or the primal triad, if you will, and that's the sun, moon, rising. So using the whole sign system is pretty standard, I want to say. I'd maybe not be using the right word there, for medical readings. And this is because it's based on the ancient science. But I do think that it is beneficial to run both charts. And I like to see what resonates with my clients. Like, what makes sense to you, not to me. It doesn't matter what makes sense to me at the end of the day. So the whole sign chart has the sun in the fourth house, which is the house of home. And the Placidius version has the sun in the third house, which is siblings, communication, environment. There is some delineation between the house descriptions a little bit in ancient astrology versus modern, but I think pretty much everybody's kind of come around to some commonality with both. Also, modern astrologers tend to smash the sign in with the house. Ancient astrologers did not. It was originally called the places, and it was very different from the actual sign. So, yeah. So that's some of the little nuances between the two.
Okay. Now, for those of you who are just a second, for those of you who are watching, and if you don't know any astrology, do not worry. Right now, I'm just gonna wait to see what Kim's gonna tell me about my chart, which is on this, based upon these two charts, the ancient astrology and also the modern one. So if you don't understand astrology, do not worry. Just kind of follow along and see what Kim has to say, and I'll be the judge of that. I'll tell you guys. All right, we're testing Kim right now.
Okay. So just overall, like looking at just the sun, moon, and rising.
Yeah.
Just to keep it really simplified. For me too.
Perfect.
Just want to add that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated subject. So the immediate thing is, okay, so I'm looking at the sun in the fourth house on the whole sign version. Now the fourth house is all about your home, your family, your ancestors, your past. And, so the sun is at 0 degrees, which is, it means it just crossed over from Virgo into Libra, right? So, like, you could have been a Virgo.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a Libra. No, I'm just kidding. I live with Virgos, so I'm partial to that. And plus, I'm a Libra moon, so there you go. But yes, so it's just crossed over. So on the Placidius side, the sun, which is associated with your identity, your identity, somewhat your purpose, is in the third house, which is communication, short travel, siblings, your environment. But I don't know how you feel about this, but I like the sun in the fourth house on the whole sign chart for you because I feel like you're very family connected. And so that's my, but you're also heavily into the communication and connecting. That's kind of the connector house. And I see you very much as a connector. So really, you could take something from both of these charts. And that's what I think is so cool, because they kind of both apply, even though I know people would argue with me, like in a very determined manner, I'm sure, in the astrology world. But I just believe in, looking at all sides of the jewel. So that's the first thing. The moon in the whole house sign is in the fifth house, which is children, or I'm sorry, sixth house, which is that's kind of an interesting house. Like in ancient astrology, it was very much it's considered like a questionable placement for planets. Like there might be some serious challenges with planets placed in the sixth house. And the moon represented in ancient astrology was more related to like your fortune, your obviously your past, your ancestors, which is very common in modern. They didn't focus so much on the emotional aspect on it, which I think is placed in modern astrology. But it's also very connected to the body, which makes so much sense when you think about the moon and the phases of the moon and how, 90 whatever percent of our bodies are water. You don't think we're getting tossed and sloshed around during the movement of the moon? And it's
Right?
moving
Yes.
every couple days. It's changing signs, it's changing phases. It's like we're changing all the time. So, that makes perfect sense to me. So the moon in the Placidius version is in the fifth house, which is the house of fun, if you will, creativity, joy, children. Projects can be children, pets can be children. So yeah, that shifts that a little bit. And you're a very joyful person. And with your moon in Sagittarius, that is a very optimistic sign. It's ruled by Jupiter. I don't know too many people that have Sagittarius in their chart that aren't super duper optimistic. And I love that. And I love that about you because, you
So
can
that makes
turn
me unique, huh?
you can turn any situation into a positive. And I think that's an awesome thing. So I almost like the fifth house placement on Placidius for this because I do think you're a joyful person and positive person. And, the sixth house, I've heard it described this way by another astrologer, which I thought was hysterical, is carry water, chop wood, hard work, hard work. So, and I also see that in you too. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
that it works as hard as you do. You
Yeah, I
are
do work
always
hard.
doing something. Yeah.
Yes,
So you
yes.
see how I'm saying like both charts can offer you insight,
Yeah,
which
yeah. Because both
yeah,
are correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. There's no wrong. And then your rising sign again, on the whole sign version, you're looking at a non-intercepted house. So what that means is if you look on the right side at the Placidia, so it's probably the left for you guys, sorry. The Cancer portion is small, right?
Yeah.
And you see just a little slice of Cancer there, and then it goes right into Leo. So another great astrologer that I work with has described it as the first house on the cusp is your address on the street. The second intercepted house is like your backyard.
Oh,
And so, yeah, they both have influence.
interesting. Yes.
Yes, I think so too. So that's the modern perspective versus the whole sign. So the other things I would look at, I love looking at degrees. So you have a few things at 22 degrees, which I think is a really cool number. You have a few things at 17 degrees. So you would just look at those and notice kind of the placement of that and what that aspects or relates to. And that's a little bit down the line. Your moon is also at 17 degrees. So you've got your north node at 17 degrees. You've got Saturn at 17 degrees. And you have your south node, of course, because that's the polar opposite, Cancer and Capricorn. And then your moon at 17 degrees.
So what can
And
you say
then some,
about 17 degrees then? Because there's a lot of them in 17 degrees.
yeah. I think it's just interesting that is a reoccurring number for you. And I look at the number more from like a numerology aspect, I guess. And I don't know if that's totally correct on the astrology, but I'm more of an intuitive astrologer.
It's interesting because when I add my date of birth, my month, and my year, it comes out to 17, which equates to number 8, my life path number 8.
Yes,
but before
that's
that
right.
is 17 again.
Yes, break it down. I do break it down. That's what
So,
I do.
I haven't really paid much attention to that number 17. What is your take on that? Because I just now found that to be interesting because it's a repeating number.
Yeah, I just think, yes, I would say, like, if I read this intuitively, I would say Saturn is a very influential planet for you. And he's also, sorry, I use he and she sometimes. It's just not a reflection of gender. It's just energy, masculine and feminine energy. And Saturn is masculine energy. And he's in Aquarius, which is the sign he rules. So he's very at home there. And that was something else ancient astrologers and modern do too. They look at the host planet for the sign, and he's basically hanging out in his own house. So that's pretty neat. And then, yeah, your North Node. It's interesting that the Placidius version has your North Node in the 12th house, which is sort of a place of a blind, I call it the blind spot. Okay. Because we can't always see what what planet is there, what the purpose is, if you will, or what so your North Node obviously is your soul's journey in this lifetime. And so it may not have been obvious to you what that was. But on the other hand, your whole house chart, it's in your first house. And that's very connected to your identity and who you are. I love that Uranus and Pluto are at 7 and 12 degrees, because my birthday is 7/12.
There's a
So
connection
here
there.
again, it's just like I just see these connections, and I can't.
Funny.
Yeah, and I can't ignore it. I can't ignore it.
Wow.
And then Venus is very at home. Her domicile or home is both Libra and Taurus. The Libra position is the masculine air cardinal sign, and the Taurus is the fixed feminine earth sign. So you've got a little bit different energy in each one, but it's nice to have Venus at home. Just looking, Mars is at home in Scorpio, and that's where he rules. So I just kind of look around at the planets and see where they are, to see if anything looks, interesting. Yeah, Chiron. I don't read Chiron. I'm not experienced in that. That's not something that I know a lot about. I'm just kind of learning about that. So that's the thing that looks like the key up at the top, on the left-hand side. Yeah, that's supposed to be your deepest wound, a past life or childhood wound. Pisces could be something in your unconscious that you're not even aware of. That would be my guesstimate there. And then if we wanted to look at the medical aspect, those are just kind of the things that stand out. Obviously, anybody could look at these charts and get something totally different. And that's, I think, one of the most amazing things about astrology is everybody has their own unique way of turning the jewel.
But I think it's kind of like any reading also, Kim, even with the tarot reading, you have a different reader read read the same spread. They may come up with a different meaning too, different reading.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And it's whatever's hitting the person who's getting the reading at the time. That's the most important person in all of it. It's not who's doing the reading, it's who's getting it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm just going to look at the medical side now.
Okay, cool.
I'm excited about that.
Right, you're my doctor. Dr. Kim. Dr. Kim just gonna give me a medical report here.
Not a country doctor.
And this is cool because right now a lot of people are, you know what it is? A lot of people now are more concerned with their health anyway. A lot of people are more, I think ever since COVID, a lot more people are really focusing on their health and wellness. So it's kind of cool that, you coming out with this kind of reading.
Might be insightful. I want to help people. That's my main goal in life. So I'm a Cancer. If I didn't mention that before, I'm a Cancer sun, a Cancer rising. So
yeah, you are a double Cancer.
Nurturing is a big part of my life.
Maybe too much, right?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I've got to get a kick into the self-care a little bit more for sure. It's my month, so I'll be taking some time off this month. All right, let's dive in. So let's look at the sun sign. Okay. And we're gonna we're gonna use the left-hand side, or the whole sign chart, if you will,
Go for it.
to look at this. Yeah. So looking at the sun in Libra in the 4th house. Libra is rules over kind of the middle part of the body. Now, some of the medical stuff overlaps because it's not just as simple as the organs and bones. You've got nerves, you've got tissues, you've got fascia, you've got, being a massage person.
Where I'm at.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're looking at the kidneys, the ovaries, the waist, the lumbar spine. Let me look at my notes here real quick. The adrenal axis. Yeah, that's right there, right? And also some of the neurotransmitter levels and hormonal potassium levels, mineral levels, which kind of goes in line with the kidneys anyway. And, so if we look at Venus, which is the ruling planet in your chart, and Saturn, which is the weakest planet, because it's kind of the opposite of, it's a cold planet. Venus is warm. We look at the chart and see where those two planets are for further guidance as to if you may experience problems in these areas. So Saturn, like I mentioned before, is super happy in Aquarius, right? And Venus is happy in Libra.
Thank God. Stay there. You're happy, you stay there.
Well, that's another thing, like the transit things. And then we look at the I guess Mars is kind of, I misspoke before. Mars is the opposite of Venus, basically, right? Yin and yang. And so we look at Mars's placement. Well, look where Mars is. He's in Scorpio. So he's in his home sign. So like, there's nothing there that would be like, oh, you need to look at Aquarius rules to see if that's maybe where your problem lies. So that's kind of how the ancients read that. And then Judith Hill is probably the best resource I've found for medical astrology. She just came out with a new book, which is fascinating. And she talks about the signs as syndromes, like putting symptoms into the equation to see if maybe you're experiencing problems there. So I'm just going to say a couple things that she came up with, which I think are interesting. Sugar or wine addiction could be a problem. Mineral imbalances, bloating and water retention, and hormonal imbalances. So not to be me oriented, but I'm a Libra moon, and yes, all of these symptoms apply to me.
So you said that I would tend to have is this symptom, right? The bloating, the hormonal, mineral. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yes. Bloating.
Yeah, doesn't it? It makes a lot of sense. For me, it's not sugar, it's wine, just to clarify.
Sugar.
So based on that, like if you said what you just said, that's might be a problem for me. I would probably then dive into some recommendations for stones. So I just came up with some general stones that I use for these signs based on the medical aspect. So I love labradorite for Libra. It has this amazing quality of the flash, and it's connected to the moon, and Venus and the moon are, to me, very interconnected planets. And I think I have done a treatment on myself where I placed a couple of labradorite palm stones on where my kidneys are and laid down on it. And the methodology that I use, or I've just started using, is stone medicine, which uses acupuncture points with stones. And it's very interesting work. Very
Nice.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
just wanted to let everyone knows that Kim also teach what do you call that? Ancient stone healing. Yeah. You
Yes.
put the
Yeah.
stone on the meridian or acupressure or puncture point. Yeah, for healing. I think that's excellent technique. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy, so non-invasive for people that are super sensitive. I think it really, and again, we're talking about ancient practices that started in Taoist China that have just been thrown away for the most part. And there's just a few like amazing people keeping this knowledge alive and out there. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
so stone medicine works, it's vibrational, so it's slower. Plants typically work a little faster. You could use nettles. It's very good for all of the things I mentioned, really. I mean, it's kind of like I drink nettle tea, or try to, once a day. And it does help me. And then there's this other herb called chanca piedra, and I might be butchering the
Is that
pronunciation of that.
yeah.
It's for kidney stones. It's basically translates to stone breaker. And it's a rainforest herb. I think it's grown in like the jungle, South America, that area. Comes usually in a powdered form, and it's bitter, but it is amazing. Short story.
So where can
Someone
we
I
get
know,
that? Where can we get that plant?
I get mine from, and if you want, you could put it in the notes. It's called, I'll send it to you because I'm
Okay.
going to butcher the name of it. But
All right.
it's
Yeah.
a herbal company in New York,
Okay.
and I've taken some workshops with the owner of it. She's from Costa Rica. She's amazing.
Oh,
She's
okay.
amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
I can share that in the description just for the audience who may want to
Yeah.
take some too.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple of links for the visitors if they want to get more information.
Yeah, because a lot of people like to take herbs, I mean, but again, guys, this is not like medical advice or anything like that.
No.
You try your own stuff, but
Yes.
like a lot of people like to take herbs, whatever, you can have access to that. We just know where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
I could
Cool.
definitely pass that along.
We're gonna have to mention that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
What makes sense
So,
definitely with the kidney because I definitely have information, especially after the COVID, and
yeah.
also with kidney because when I have tests, it's God, what is it called? GEF, and there's a medical term which I forgot, but it's a little bit lower than what it should be, just a little bit, and what it means that it doesn't filter the system as well as it should be. Yeah. So
That makes sense because that's exactly what the blood and the urine filtration falls under the Libra umbrella.
yes, okay.
Interesting.
Yes, it is quite interesting.
So now we could take a look at your moon.
All right.
And again, on the whole sign chart, we're dealing with the moon in the sixth house,
Yeah.
which is that, carry water, chop wood, hard work, and the moon is representative of a lot of things, including the body. So I would say you've done a lot of hard work in the last few years. Would I be right?
Like what on you mean working hard or doing a
Your
lot of
health.
my health?
I think you've had to work really hard to keep your health.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, especially with after COVID. But also,
right.
yeah, it would make sense, Kim, because I'm the kind of person who have to work out
Yes.
and have to work out hard for my body type. Yes, definitely.
And Sagittarius is a fire sign, so it's a go sign. Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah. And it governs the hips, the bones and the sockets included in that. the iliac crest.
Yes.
Yep, thighs and the femurs,
Uh-huh.
and the sciatic nerve. And these are
Mhm.
just a few because
Yeah.
it's an exhaustive list. Honestly, it's because you start to talk about all the the things that we discussed before, the fascia and the little ligaments and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we didn't really look at Jupiter before. Jupiter and Aries. So Jupiter's in a fire sign. Of course, for the life of me, I can't remember if that's an area where Jupiter likes to be. I don't
Mhm.
know why. I can't
Mhm.
recall.
You said
Sometimes
that
I
Jupiter
can't.
likes to be?
Yeah. Well, he rules Sagittarius, so
Okay.
that's also a fire sign. And fire signs are trines in aspecting, which means the energy flows a lot easier between them.
Mm. Yeah.
So I got to believe he's okay there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other planet, which would be the opposite, is Mercury, and Mercury's in Virgo, and that's his domicile. So you don't have any outlining issues with those two planets. And then for symptoms, it says restless legs, caffeine addiction, insomnia, compulsive traveling. Oh, I think we found one.
Compulsive. Yes, yes, yes. You say compulsive traveling?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely that's me. Well, I
Do
mean, I
you have,
can,
go
mm.
ahead.
Go ahead, Kim.
Do you ever have like, do you shake your legs a lot or do you have any of that restless leg stuff
I
going
don't
on?
have restless legs, but I do have restless legs if I don't go anywhere for a while,
Mm,
then I feel restless, very restless. I I'm always, have to say that I'm not the homebody type person. I need to kind of get out of my house and travel or change, change my environment. I need
yeah,
changes constantly. Yes. Hmm.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And you said it before, you have to work out.
I do have to work out all the time. Otherwise, I feel restless. I feel like, like a dog. You have a dog that if you don't let your dog goes out and run and they get that anxiety and they get all that
Hmm.
too much energy, I think I would be considered like that hyper dog. I'm very hyper. I I tend to have a lot of energy. And I think with my energy, I don't know, you can see that on the chart. I think I have higher energy than most average people. It takes a lot for me to wear out or exhausted. So I tend to do a lot of muscular and workout. For
Yeah,
example, weightlifting, CrossFit, or endurance workout, any workout. Yoga doesn't do for me. I mean, but thing that will exhaust me physically, that would help me to relax my mind too. So I noticed that. So the kind of workout, it has to be very intense
yeah,
compared to other people. I mean, from most of my friends would say, yeah, I can't go with the kind of workout you do. And when I do workout, it will be like, I mean, now I cut down since COVID, but in the past, it would be at least 2 hours, 3 hours. It'll be so intense, you know,
yeah,
and to wear me out, and then I'll feel relaxed. So it's just like my body needs that kind of workout. Yeah.
yeah. I think that falls in line exactly with what we were just talking about,
But
you
also with
know?
what you said in the sixth house, the house of health and wellness, right? Too. You talk about take care of my health. I do focus a lot nowadays. Uh, each year's gone by as I get older, I become more and more focused and interest in health and wellness.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
yes,
much. I would take up a lot of study in the physical wellness, mental wellness, and emotional wellness. It's not just one aspect of my life.
yeah,
For instance, I would be interested in going in deep in a different kind of workout. Um, then, with the wellness of the mind and emotion, I self-care. I meditate, and I study and hypnotherapy and meditation, things like that. Be at peace, go into nature, connect to, find joy. And luckily I got moon in Sagittarius. Like you said, I tend to be positive, think positive.
Yeah, you do. You
Mhm.
do. You
Yeah.
do. And with Mercury in Virgo,
Yeah.
that's where you get your mental energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that what you just said,
Mhm.
Kim, I noticed that I got my Libra in its own sign, Mercury as well. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Venus. Yeah, you have a lot of planets in their their domicile or yeah,
many,
I didn't get into the exaltation and the
yeah,
exile
many
and
of
all
them
that,
are in its own
but
sign, right? Yeah.
what's that?
Many of them. I have many of
Yeah.
them. Mars,
Yeah. Hmm.
Mercury, Venus. Is that normal for most people?
I have no idea what normal is.
Yeah,
Normal is a setting on your dryer.
yeah, that's true.
I didn't say that, by the way, but I love it. I don't know who said that, but such
Well,
a
it's
great
recorded
saying.
now.
Uh,
Cool.
well,
All
let's
right.
do your rising sign.
Okay.
So Cancer, obviously, I'm super familiar with that
Mm-hmm.
personal experience. But yes, the breast, the stomach, the lymphatic system. I have
Mm.
personally have a very slow lymphatic system, the pineal gland and the hypothalamus. So, planets would be Moon and Venus. So,
Mm.
um, the Moon in Sagittarius. Let's see. Let me think about that for a minute. That I think is fine.
Yeah.
Um,
See, interesting because the rising sign in Cancer, you talk about the stomach, which kind of makes sense. I had bulletproof stomach before. When I got COVID, that's when, it was since 2020, that's when I have been uh dealing with the stomach
yeah,
issue.
me too. I mean, when I got it, it definitely changed my gut.
And I think
Yeah,
that actually affecting a lot of people all over the
yeah,
world that COVID. I have seen that on the Facebook forum. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen it a lot too. You're right.
I
But
wonder
yeah,
if they
the
all
only thing
have
I would
cancer. I wonder if they all have like strong cancer on their chart.
wouldn't that be interesting? That
Oh
would be
my God,
fascinating.
yes, that would be fascinating. You
In
see?
my spare time, I'll do a
Yeah,
survey.
cool.
But yes, you have fire in the moon and water on the rising. So fire and water are not um, compatible because I mean, obviously you're a compatible person, but you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
fire gets put out by water, water gets heated up by fire. It creates tension. There's the word I was looking for. So there
Mm,
can be some tension there, for sure.
mhm.
And then Venus is in her home sign, so no problems there. So just the having the moon in a fire sign could be indicative that we would need to look a little bit deeper there. And then Saturn is the weakest planet, and it's doing fine in Aquarius. And I don't know about you, but light and temperature sensitivity, like I am hot one minute, I'm freezing cold the next. And that's very common for cancers. Like other friends that I have that are cancers have that big time in their chart if they have a prominent placement for
Mm.
sure. Extreme reaction to bug bites.
Okay, yes.
That's me.
Yes, yes.
And needles.
Oh, I
That's
don't like
me.
needles.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Think about the crab. The crab has this hard shell. The cancer is symbolized by the crab, right?
mm,
They
mm.
have this hard shell. So anything that's going to penetrate the shell is naturally going to irritate us.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, our life revolves around food. Oh, yeah.
Oh, oh my Lord. Yes. Yes.
And
Mhm.
we're prone to cysts, not necessarily cancerous, but even though our sign's cancer, which is like so
Mm.
weird. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have prone to growths and cysts. And I definitely have a problem too.
Well, yeah, growing up, as a young girl and teenage, I always had to fight with acne, and can you believe that? I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's
I
terrible.
think
That's so
my
hard.
skin is awesome right now.
It is awesome.
Admiring
Yeah.
myself, but I'll tell you, I struggle with acne even when I was about 15 years old. I remember my
Oh,
mom used to try to find all kinds of herbs and remedies and to help me get rid of all these tons of acne and pimples. Yeah. Hmm.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even when I in my 40s and in my 50s, oh God, everybody knows my age now. So I would still have a lot of pimples. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think, now in my life, yeah, I don't struggle with that anymore. Thank God. Yes. But many years, I always struggle with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it makes sense. And plus, two, I would add to that. Um, it definitely, I think the liver it might be ruled by cancer. Part of the liver, I'm not quite sure. They kind of divide it up into this lobe and that lobe, but and liver problems can lead to skin problems. And I have liver markers myself
oh
that are
God.
not perfect, and I have
Then
been
I shouldn't have I
experiencing.
shouldn't have liver problem right now.
Yeah, it's because my skin's a mess right now. I have
All right.
terrible. Oh,
Okay,
it's
now,
awful.
so anyone who watching right now, if you got skin problem, maybe check your
Check your
put it
liver.
on your
Check.
chart. No, my skin is great right now. I can't complain.
That's good. That's
No
good.
liver,
Yeah.
but kidney might be because I actually been told by a very good psychic, that she said, keep an eye on your liver, and and my test is not so perfect.
Mm.
Not bad, but not perfect, so I just have to the only thing that I have to keep an eye on that. So yeah. So that would
I'm
make sense.
very blessed. I have an amazing acupuncturist who does just her. She's so right on with her energy reading. She busts me every time I come in there. You've eaten gluten, haven't you? Uh
Wow. Wow.
huh.
Wow. So she helped
Good.
you with acupuncture work. Is that what it is?
Puncture every month. Preventative. Yeah, it
Oh,
helps me
okay.
a
Where's
lot.
she at?
Yeah,
Where is she located at?
she's in Simi Valley. That's where I am.
Oh my God,
So
that's far.
I know.
I
Sorry.
love to go. Yeah, I love to go to a good acupuncturist. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really gifted. She's very gifted. I just
Okay.
remembered I forgot to mention stones for Sagittarius or
Ah,
herbs and
okay.
malachite. I chose malachite for Sagittarius because of the bone factor. It's very good for your bones and because of the hip sockets, hip bones, and the hips are a point of contention for us as we get older. I mean,
Mm.
sometimes it can happen when you're younger too, but um it's it's definitely a factor. They take a lot of abuse, especially if you work out a lot or you run a lot. Or I work with a few athletes that ran marathons and they're in their 80s now, and yeah, and I mean
That
that's
would
an
make
area.
sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would make sense because with all the, the intensity of the workout that I have done in the past, my
Mm-hmm.
hip always like, it's like nerve pull, trigger points pull.
Yep.
Yeah. So always I would have to go see a massage therapist and got her to put her elbow right in my hip joint
Yeah,
area. Yeah. And
that's
that would be
good.
a deep work. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then for herbs, I picked valerian or skullcap just because
Mhm.
of the need to
You're
kind of
gonna have to
tone.
like email me that list.
I
Definitely.
will.
Yes, yes, I'm
Yeah,
gonna forget.
that
And
helps
for
calm
those
you
of you,
down.
yeah, yeah, and just in case, for those of you who are listening and you're interested in the medical astrology, definitely, reach out to Kim, or to me, that's fine. Um, have her give you a reading and give you a recommendation on what type of stone you can use, and as well as the herbs, that you can give it a try. So anyway, let's move
Yeah.
on, Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for cancer, I mean, you can't beat moonstone. I mean, it's the official stone of the moon.
Right,
right?
right, exactly. That.
Yeah, say, just very supportive stone, very calming, nurturing. It's part of the feldspar family, and with sunstone, and even labradorite is in the feldspar group as well, with amazonite, and those are all really good for your nervous system. Just reset, invoking those parasympathetic
Now, how would you recommend?
vibrations.
Yeah, okay, Kim, let me ask you a question. Say you do give me a reading, you give a client reading, and you recommend these stones. So how would a client place these stones or use the stones, for themselves?
Yeah, you could easily do a stone treatment on yourself if you can't get to a practitioner. I also offer distance healing too, setting up, like medical grids around your chart. We can do that, but it's easy to do a self
And
treatment.
what is
I
the
would just,
medical grids on the chart? Can you explain that a little bit to the audience?
yeah, I would run your chart, like
Hmm.
the whole sign chart,
Yeah.
and we do a reading, and they can communicate where they're experiencing difficulties, and then I can set up a grid around that area of the chart with crystals.
On the astrology chart, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
then
I've started doing that quite a bit for people
uh-huh.
that can't get to me, or they're, I have friends
And
and
then and
relatives.
then what would the client do? You shipped out, you send them a chart and you have them put the stone themselves on their chart. Is that what it is?
That's an option too. Yeah. Or I can do it here. I have like, routinely, I have 5 or 6 charts.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
you do a distant healing on the
yeah.
client chart.
hmm
You do the stone healing and you do all the grids for your
Yep.
clients.
And
Okay.
I work out with them. I can do a meditation with them, or I can do a meditation myself, or clear it. Um, I grow a lot of my own spiritual herbs. I have white sage at my property. I make sage sticks, and
Nice. Well, you do all kinds
yeah.
of you have a website, right?
Mhm.
North Bone, is that what it is? And you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
what is it that you do, Kim, with that herbs and all that cream stuff?
Basically, I try to do more custom work. I do some, for the masses, but I make astrology bracelets based on your chart.
Astrology bracelet plate
hmm
based on the chart. Okay, good.
Yeah. So,
That's
and I,
unique. That's unique. Okay.
yeah, it
Can
is.
you
I don't.
explain a little bit how okay, let's say looking at my chart here, how would you create a bracelet according to my chart? What it look like? What would it be like?
Something
Mm-hmm.
like this. I don't know if you can see that. Probably
You
not that
you
well.
you're probably gonna have to bring
Oh,
the picture down.
I can't really see it. But there are pictures on my website, but each one's unique because every chart's unique. So
Ah,
basically, I go around the chart. Each planet has a stone, and I place the stones in the order of the chart, the natal chart.
okay.
Yeah,
Ah, you put them in order of the stone around the chart.
yeah. It also helps you learn your chart because I don't really. I probably do now, but I would say it took me probably a good 2, 3 years really to like remember exactly what planet was in what sign.
That's awesome. Yes, yes, true. It's not
So
easy, especially people who don't know anything about astrology at all. And
yeah,
but I think I like that pretty neat idea that you do it in according to their chart because every chart is so different with the
yeah.
planets.
I just had a friend of mine. Well, someone I know. She's a friend. And she was in absolute like craziness. I got in a bike accident. I lost my bracelet, so
Oh,
I
my
made
Lord.
her another one.
Yeah. Oh
We get
my.
attached to our crystals, don't we?
Yes, we do. I mean, don't we all? I mean, I know a lot of crystal lovers. My God,
Yeah.
I mean, they're attached to them more than their boyfriends or significant loved ones. You know?
They
So,
get attached to us too. That's how we end up with them. I
yeah,
do believe in that.
I
They come
believe they
find us.
pick us. They pick
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
But So now the stone that you mentioned about my stone earlier, that's a stone that you would put on the bracelet, right? For healing.
I could, yes, I can do custom. I have a standard format that I follow for people that order off my website, but I love custom work.
I think
So
it's unique because that's pretty
yeah,
cool because no one bracelet is alike, and you do
yeah,
it in according to their birth chart. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah.
yeah. It's nice. And the other thing is, I normally wear the birth charts of my family, so including my dog, who's no longer here on this planet, but he's still
Oh,
here with me.
oh wow. Wow, that's sweet.
So yeah,
That's sweet.
I usually have at least 7 or 8 bracelets on my wrist at once, and that's been a long time thing for me. So yeah, once I started making the birth charts, it just seemed like a very fun, energetic way that I could
Mm-hmm.
connect with my loved ones.
Wow, wow. Okay. Now you mentioned earlier that my Saturn is kind of weak. Is that what it is?
No, your Saturn's fine.
Oh, okay.
Saturn rules Capricorn
Yes.
and Aquarius, so he's in
And it is
Aquarius.
it's in Aquarius. And right
Mm-hmm.
now the Aquarius is significance in the global energy right now, isn't it?
Because Pluto is in Aquarius.
Right?
He's gonna dip back into
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. At the
Okay.
final degree for a little while. We got to do a little check check on check and
Mhm.
balances on our rules and you know
Yeah, yeah.
boundaries. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Nice. Okay. So basically that's my health. That's my medical report.
Sun, moon, rising. There's much further you can go.
Oh, much further you can do that. Oh my
You
God.
can start looking at all the inner planets. Yeah, like
Then you're
Mars.
gonna dig up more health problem, isn't it?
There's also the position of the planets in relation to the sun, um, and just general house placement. So certain houses are considered more like challenging
Okay.
for planetary placement, like I'm sorry, the sixth house, the 12th house, and the eighth house.
Mm,
I think
yeah,
it's sixth, eight, and 12. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like kind of a normal reading when you read somebody's chart.
That's
You
gonna remind me of the Vedic astrology too.
Vedic,
Yeah,
yes,
Vedic, yeah.
because
They,
Vedic follows the progression
mhm.
from the Hellenistic era and medieval area. So, or
Wow.
medieval era. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. They had very little to work with, and how they figured out so much is an absolute mystery and marvel to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I remember when I started astrology, and just I don't know, I am really terrible at math and angles and learning the aspects. I actually came up with a cheat for it, which is much easier for me.
Mhm.
And there's it's just a million ways to look at things. It's so unbelievably endless, just like the
Wow.
universe.
Wow, wow, wow. This is
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I have to agree with that, with the stomach problem, information problem. Um, since 2020 when I got COVID, and that's always been the issue that I have. I mean, if anyone saw my videos in the past from 2021, people would see me not looking the same, and now it's a lot better. It went down quite a bit. I've done a lot of work. Like you said, Kim, you're so right about that. I wasn't thinking about that. You mentioned about me working hard on my health, correct?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That very much in line with that sixth house, whole house alignment. Um, you
Mm.
know, yeah, it's
That is,
very interesting. And maybe there is a good reason why medical follows the whole house system. I don't really know. I really
yeah,
don't know.
that's
Just it,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I was very conflicted when I first went down the ancient path. I didn't know what was right what was the right way. But it took me a while just to evolve to the point where I realized there is no right or wrong. It's just different, just
Yes.
different. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool because
Yeah, it
I
is.
I do have to share with you, since you mentioned about focusing on my health. Um, I was pretty healthy growing up. Never got sick or anything like that, but I was always in sports. Even at in my 20, 30, when gym Bally's just open, I would be a membership, I mean, be a member. But even though I didn't really go to the gym that much, I still, like the fact of seeing myself working out. But always been drawn to it, taking care of my health. But now, after COVID, even much more well-rounded when it comes to taking care of my health. Because like I said earlier, it's not just the physical aspect of myself, but emotional, mental as well. I
Yeah.
make sure that I stay balanced, I stay happy and positive, um, really connect with nature, and I don't allow stress to come into my mind, and in my energetic field. I'm able to let go and release that a lot faster. Very consciously aware of it. Yeah. So you're right about that.
That's a strong trait of Libras. We want balance, we want harmony, we don't
Very
want
much.
chaos.
Yes, and that's
We want
that's
everybody to be happy.
yes. If
Tall
if you
order.
feel off balance, you're just not yourself. Yes, yes, definitely. That's very, very important to feel balance. I don't
Yeah.
think I can hold uh the stressful, thought and emotion for a long time. I just have to let go of it. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
I cannot hold back all those negative feeling. Yeah, that's just not me. So yeah, I'm able to do that. And I focus that a lot. I even focus on the nutrition, the wellness in all aspect, eating healthy or organic foods, things like that. Very, very important.
Yes.
And
Agree.
and, and I even got to the point where I mean I love medicines, holistic herbal healings and anything that has to do with health and wellness. And my focus has been that a lot in the
Yeah.
year. Yeah. So I have to agree with that. You hit right on that.
How
Kidney,
about the compulsive traveling?
I'm sorry, say it again.
How about the compulsive traveling?
Oh my God, yes. Is that on my chart?
I kind of picked that one just for you. Sorry.
Yeah. I have to agree. I think it may show on my chart too because I have on the modern astrology I have a Jupiter on top, right?
Yes. Right near your
On
10th house cusp. Yeah.
yes, the 9 or 10
Yeah.
house. So
Yeah.
that's long distance traveling. And
It
plus I
is.
have my moon in Jupiter. So again, that's
Exactly. Yeah.
love to do a long
Sagittarius. Yeah.
and
That's what brought it up. It's a Sagittarius like symptom or whatever.
yeah, that's the illness. You know, and
I would
especially
cause that. I would argue with that being like an illness in a negative sense. I think it's kind of a cool thing, but yeah, I
but
think
I have to agree that you get that because lately I have been even pondering on uh really lived in different country for a few months and then come back here for a few months and then
mm-hmm.
maybe travel to a different country and live there. Because since now that I work online, it allows me to have this freedom to be able to just, you know, if I want to live anywhere. And I think we get to this point in our life, Kim, that I feel we should explore more, with I don't know, just something different. Just
Mm-hmm.
something different. And I think a lot of people are holding back and not create any changes or big changes because it's scary, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Yeah.
scary to just like drop everything and just go and, you know, even just a few months and come back and take off again. It can become very unstable for some people.
I think we're going to be feeling that, like overall, that tension,
Mhm.
until Uranus leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini with Jupiter. Jupiter's in Gemini now,
And
and
that's gonna be when? I think in that's gonna be a while.
2026. I think it's 2026. I could be wrong. I follow transits. I'm trying to be better
Yeah.
about like, analyzing that, but that's an emerging thing for me. I've been really focused on
Yeah.
natal chart at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many different directions to go, but I do follow transits, and I think it's interesting how we relate to them both on an individual basis and also on a collective basis. And looking back at the history of what happened during this last transit,
Yeah.
my yeah, I probably will give you my LA based astrologer, if that's okay, in the notes. His name's
Yeah.
Scott Tajarian. He's really amazing, and he's a modern guy. He has a weekly podcast called The Weekly Transit that is awesome, and he and his partner do the podcast together, and she's a Jungian psychologist.
Mm,
So it's
that's
fascinating.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. So anything else on the chart that you'd like to share, Kim? Or
Oh boy, I've pretty much reached my max at about an hour.
perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, you can actually end the sharing. So I can actually see you better. I grilled Kim for an hour for that. So anyway, so that was really good, Kim. I really like this that you look into my health, and wellness through this chart, because it resonates quite a bit, because I've always got problem with my stomach and my digestive since COVID. And you're right about that when you mentioned about the sixth house and how I focus so much on my health and wellness. I have to work really hard, and that's true. And I think hadn't been that, I probably wouldn't be feeling so much better right now, although it's not perfect, not back the way it was before, but it's so much better than the past 3 years. I mean, the past 3 years, I honestly have to say I struggle quite a bit. And
Yeah, you were like the phoenix rising from the ashes,
yeah,
literally.
yes,
I give you so much credit
yeah,
for how diligent you've been, and how open you've been about your journey. It was very inspiring,
yeah.
and yeah,
I
it was.
fought. I have to say I
You
fought
fought.
hard. I fought hard to I said to myself, if I'm still living, I'm not gonna allow myself to live the way I felt like that.
Wow,
That's not living
that's
at all.
amazing. Yeah,
So it's either, I push it, and I just, my God, I would just like really push myself to really focusing on my health, taking care of it, and in everything, you know. And it's been a long journey, but I can feel gradually better and better and better. My God, if you would have seen me, I think back in 2021, 21, 22, I look sick.
yeah.
People, some people may see me on the videos too, because I allow myself to be I video myself. I didn't
Yeah, no, I
I,
saw that video. I was,
I couldn't tell us how I
yeah.
look at the moment. This is a Libra. Libra doesn't like to be seen
Mm-mm.
in her worth. I used to be,
I can vouch for that.
oh yes, I used to be one that, gotta look perfect, and my hair, maybe a little veins. That's Libra. Libra. Uh,
Venus influence.
yeah,
But Pamela Anderson's made it okay finally not to wear makeup, which is awesome for me because I
exactly.
can't wear makeup. It makes my skin itch,
Yes.
break out. It's bad for me. I can't find any makeup that works. If any one of your people out there knows of good makeup for people like that are just ultra
Well, I
sensitive.
think, Kim, the best thing to have is your skin. You
Yes.
know, the best thing to have is to have a really nice, clear skin. I used to wear makeup quite a bit too. when I go out now, even on YouTube, I don't wear makeup anymore.
Yeah.
But what I would focus is when I got COVID, my skin was really bad. I mean, it was crazy to see how we worked so hard. I worked out quite a bit. And within in a short time of being in the hospital and on a lot of drugs to save my life, I lost all muscles. All those years that I worked out,
Just not
gone.
fair.
Gone. I'm not
It
kidding
takes
you.
so long to build it up, and it
Takes
just
so
takes
long, many years to
nothing
build.
taken
And
away.
I was like, what happened? And my face just all droopy, my skin, my nails, it got so dry. Under eyes, I never have under eyes. My eyes are yellow and red. My white eyes.
Oh,
Never had that before. My white eye used to be just white sparkles, and looks sick. My hair was falling out. My nail,
yeah.
I can just peel my nails. Mm. My skin is all dry. I never had that before. And my skin just, um, when you work out, your skin is very tight,
Hmm.
my skin was just all wrinkly, very
Mm,
wrinkly. It was just like, whoa, my God, what happened to me? And I realized, oh my God, this is how we look when we're at the end of life. You know,
wow, you're right. You're right.
at the end of
Yeah.
life. And it just hit me. And then I had a lot of people mention that, God, you look like you can go any day. You can go any day.
Oh.
They thought I was gonna go. And it's true. That's how I felt. Then for some reason, I don't know, I just kept pushing myself and I have to be honest that I'm usually a very positive person, but I was depressed. I got PTSD for 6 months after COVID.
I believe it.
Yeah, a lot of fear. Never thought I'd be someone that had a lot of fear. A lot of
Mm,
fear of all this happened, the heart attack and the heart palpitation and all this stuff. Being in the hospital, it's just like it just happened so fast that you just
yeah.
didn't have time to prepare your mind. But afterward, I started to, have time to, thought it out, and I realized, you know what? If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go.
Yep.
I'm surrendering. That's it. But if I don't, I'm just gonna fight for better health, and that's how I started my journey. And yeah, I was information that you talk about that lymphatic, it didn't drain.
Yeah.
So what happened? It caused me to have a gallbladder problem. Remember,
Oh, yeah.
they have to
Gallbladder is
remove they have to remove
co-ruled.
my gallbladder, and that was like maybe 6 months after hospital. They
Wow.
removed my gallbladder, then ever since then I still got this bloating for a long, long time. It just feel like it didn't drain, you know. But now it's
Wow.
getting better. Now it's getting better. It took me a while. Yeah, but it was like, yeah, that damn six house. And
Damn 6 house.
yes, 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 for sure. Yeah. So anyway, Kim, that was great reading. I liked it a lot. It's very accurate with my health, that you mentioned. Every single area you mentioned is correct. Uh, so, Kim, I'm going to put your information, underneath the description, and this is just for anyone who would love to try it out. What else do you do besides doing this Hellenistic astrology that's deal with your health and wellness? And Kim also will recommend what to use, what stone to use, and you create the grids as well, right? And the herbs.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
the
mean, if you're
bracelet.
in person and you're in Ventura County, I do in-person treatments or
Okay.
uh, programs with that combine like movement. So, because I have an extensive background in yoga and somatics and myofascial rolling,
Mhm.
um, many times I have people move first before they lay down with the stones. You know,
Okay.
yeah, which is good, which
That's
is
awesome.
also
I
very
like the
good.
I like
Yeah,
the idea that you create that stone, the jewelry, the bracelets, according to your birth
and
chart.
that's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Definitely, I think everyone should try that out. So I love that. Well, Kim, thank you so, so much for all the fun today and knowledge of the Hellenistic astrology. I actually, like I said earlier, I've heard about quite a bit. I didn't know what it was about because I never really have time to kind of drop into it, even though I love astrology. And I really like the way you look at it the in medical aspect. I like that. It's really good. And I think that something can be preventative. You can actually help a lot of
Hmm.
people. And using this natural healing, holistic healing with the stones and herbs and whatever, that I think they do work, because they all
Yeah.
have energy and frequency. So by all
We
means,
are energy.
definitely. So guys, if you like this talk and if you'd like to, connect with Kim, please do so. I will get her information underneath the description, her bio and everything, how you can contact her. Okay. And get a reading from her. And even, you can figure out if you want any kind of bracelet you want to get done. Or what about for men? Women, we can wear bracelets. What about men? What can you do to help them out with their um, the medical condition or their health?
Same thing, really. And actually, they love. I have quite a few men out there wearing my astrology chart
Oh, okay.
bracelets. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
I
men
can
can
make
wear
them with
that.
bigger stones. I have
Okay.
bigger stones if because sometimes men like a little bit bolder
Yeah,
statements,
because I
but
figure, I don't want it to look a little too feminine for some men, but now many men are wearing stones and, bracelet and necklaces.
yeah,
So I've seen that quite a
yeah.
bit. They look sexy. So
I love it. If I see a guy with a bracelet, I'm like, hey, you're my people.
There you there you go. So anyways, well, thank you so much, Kim, for being on my talk here. Love it. Love your astrology. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your healing as well. You're an amazing healer. And guys, if you like this video, please, please share Kim with everyone because this is gonna be helping a lot of people because a lot of people, not even aware of their health that they're born with because we're born with all this chart you know
Yes,
it's just when is going to happen. This is already on my chart. I just never
yeah,
knew that it's already there, and it just happened on during the COVID, and that's when everything that you read on the chart is all happened to me.
yeah. It's not
Almost,
crazy.
yeah, every
Crazy.
area you mentioned is right on the dot. So anyway,
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much. Click like, subscribe,
Thank
and share this
you.
video. No, thank you, Kim. Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. And you got to come back again.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Tina.
Thank you.